Hi everyone, welcome back to another Sunday Nights with Faye Seidler. It's me, Faye. Sunday night. We're going to talk about stuff. The first thing to talk about, just some of my stuff going on. There is the Transgender Day of Visibility happening on March 31st. That is a nationally recognized day of visibility to honor the contributions that trans individuals have made and to recognize some of the struggles that they have to deal with given our society full of prejudice, misunderstanding, and hate. That said, there is quite a lot of love, and that's the day to show it. There's local events happening in Fargo, such as the one at Parachigo. There's one in Grand Forks being put on by Out and Proud. Then I have the Raise the Trans Flag event where I'm taking videos from trans individuals to kind of talk about their life, hobby, art, just to show the diversity of transness across the state and to show youth the lives that they can grow up into, because it's essential for people to have role models that they can model themselves into and see themselves in their future. I'm also doing some fundraising, so I'll take in some money and be able to disperse it out amongst the trans individuals who submit videos, just to kind of give some of that mutual aid to folks who, might be struggling one way or another in our state right now. So more opportunities in that, but you can find it all on my website. To get into the stories we have today, I want to let you know that tomorrow there's the reality of sex trafficking in North Dakota that is being put on by the NDHRC Project and is talking about the reality of this occurring across our state. I think people don't understand how common it is, and it's not extremely common, but it's not rare either, and it's something that is happening in communities and devastating youth. Part of the problem of being North Dakota is being a rural state, and when this stuff happens, communities don't like to talk about it because they can feel intense shame, but because of that, we don't have good conversations to mitigate this, to prevent it, to make victims feel less alone or less like it's their fault. This is a conversation we have to open up to make sure everyone is safe, no matter how awkward or scary that conversation might be. So I recommend following NDHRC Project, not to be confused with NDHRC, for more information about this. They've been doing trainings and will continue to do trainings on this topic. I love the work they're doing. There's a lot of hope in it. The VA is putting on a suicide prevention gatekeeper training for veterans specifically on March 10th at 11:30 a.m., or people who serve veterans. I think veterans have unique needs that are important to be aware of when we're looking at suicide prevention efforts specifically for them. And being veterans are also more likely to probably experience other hardships that you should be aware of. It's similar to looking at LGBT+ populations or BIPOC populations. If we don't account for the specific stresses these populations experience, we're not really going to be able to intervene or build the hope they need to keep going. So if you work with veterans, it's a good training to consider and to go to or to promote to people who you think would benefit. Inspire Innovation Labs is putting on a community event where anyone's welcome to come and eat pie and also just do some activities. It's a family-friendly event. Check it out. It's in Moorhead. Later that day, there's going to be a sexual health event happening at Parachigo where a multitude of organizations are coming in to talk about general aspects of sexual health to help destigmatize and make accessible just general information and questions people might have around the topic, and maybe didn't get good chances to explore that as they grew up. As of right now, you can still register for the Cass Clay Suicide Prevention Summit. This is our biggest local Fargo-Moorhead summit around suicide prevention with a lot of incredible topics. That's happening in April. Make sure to register as soon as you can because it does fill up, and it has filled up the last 2 years. This is our 3rd year of hosting it. So check it out. Let people know about it. Do you care about feeding kids? Do you care that kids have food, breakfast, and lunch at least? Well, you should then sign up your organization to support the free school meals for all in North Dakota. This is part of our joint effort to assure that we can get this basic need met for kids. Keep in mind that this is morally and ethically good. It's just good. But from every way you can consider it, whether it be a faith perspective, a public health perspective, education perspective, kids being fed is the only way to achieve any of the goals we have in any sector, because a starving kid cannot learn, a starving kid cannot have hope, a starving kid does not develop that well when their nutritional needs are not met. This is something that we as a society are responsible for, and it's really strange that we don't just do this. So if you support that, as you should support them and let your organization know about it and help them in any way that they need it. Do you know a youth between the ages of 16 and 24 that would like to be involved in the LGBT+ Summit? Because they can, and they can even get paid doing it. You have until March 16th, so next week, for youth to sign up to be part of that. You'll learn things about planning summits. You will talk to other leaders about how to do and organize things like that. It looks great if you want to ever get into college and want to show how you are a go-getter. So there's a lot of good opportunities to be part of this, to let youth know about it. So please share that out. That's going to be through the North Dakota Human Rights Coalition as part of the LGBT+ Summit planning for the 8th Summit. share, like, subscribe. For folks who like to know what Senator Kramer has been up to representing North Dakota at the national stage, they are describing the current aggression that we have into Iran as being biblical. We have a biblical responsibility. There is a short interview. I don't know if it's like gotcha moments with them, right? But I don't particularly like the answers Kramer is giving, and I haven't particularly liked the way that Kramer has been representing North Dakota, or rather not. I am not partisan. I don't think that Republicans or Democrats are the good or bad guys, but I do think that North Dakota has been uniquely hurt by our federal administration in ways I wish our current representatives stood up for. Even if you might, from a policy and partisan position, like certain things, North Dakota's farmers have been hurt. Our oil rigs are being tapped, so we're not producing much more. Our state finances are in the hole. The whole Medicaid and Medicare fiasco is hurting our state, and the rural funding isn't particularly helping a lot of the issues that has currently jeopardized. Like, there are so many struggles in our state, not to mention some of the tariff consequences and some of the messages to Canada, one of our partners to the north. Like, one little border separates us. It isn't good, and I don't like the work that Kramer has been doing, and I don't think that means we need a Dem in the office, but I really don't think they've been representing North Dakota, and ultimately that's judge for yourself. Like, it's up to North Dakota to determine if they still should be in office, but I want you to know some of the positions that they take and why they take them, because I think that helps inform North Dakota about the people we are sending to represent us. I want to highlight there's been a lot of incredible women that were nominated for Women of the Year with the YWCA. This is a glamorous, large event to celebrate the amazing contributions of women in our community. There's over 24 nominees, I think maybe that or more, and then each, at the actual awards ceremony, of the categories, 1 out of 3-ish are chosen, I think. But I think it's an important celebration of the contributions of women in our community. I'm someone who's greatly benefited from a lot of strong women in my life who I look up to as role models and heroes, and I love the opportunity that we have to celebrate them in these spaces. I also want to shout out the North Dakota Council of Arts announced their 2026 Poetry Out Loud State Champions as part of their competition. The winner of that will actually go on to represent us within DC for a larger competition. I haven't personally followed this event. I just kind of saw the announcement I'm sharing here. But I do share it for folks who, love this and want to follow it and want to promote poetry and the arts in that capacity, because I think it's really cool, even if it's something I don't personally do. That's part of what I do in the show, is things that I think are cool and uplift North Dakotans. North Dakota has a poetry out competition. That's cool. Like, we don't have to, so celebrate it. Love it. In terrible news, the United States has moved to limit access to HIV treatment. This kind of is an extension of the harm that we've seen due to the federal administration dismantling the USAID and the impacts that's had on global HIV transmissions. Basically, HIV is something that we can make through PrEP and other interventions, something that's undetectable, untraceable, and untransmittable. This does cost money. But if we invested in it, we could basically eradicate HIV/AIDS as we know it. It would be an investment, and it would take a lot of effort through public health to do so, but we were on the road to doing that. We invested the money to start doing that, and we were making really good strides, and it's really unfortunate that we are stopping basically halfway. And because of that, it erases a lot of the funding and effort we did before. I don't want to diminish the work we've done. I do want to highlight the risk of this effort. It's the same with measles, it's the same with anti-vax issues, and that is we have come really far in eradicating certain public health issues based on funding and good governance and good policy that we're turning back on to consequences that could be lethal to people. So I don't know where to go with this. It's just, this is what our federal administration is doing. And most of our Congress people in North Dakota support all this stuff happening. So if you'd like this stuff to stop happening, you need to have maybe different people in office. Just saying, if this is things you care about. If you like that we are not funding HIV, AIDS medication and intervention and prevention stuff, by all means, keep on voting the people we currently have in office. Keep doing it. Also want to let you know that farm bankruptcies jumped 46% in 2025 as debt loads and cost rises. I believe the Bank of North Dakota has put out hundreds of millions of dollars of farm loans. I recall reading that. If I'm incorrect, please correct me on that. This is just another thing where our farmers are being uniquely impacted by the policies of our federal administration. I don't create this episode with this, I'm going to really just dunk on our federal administration and our Congress people of North Dakota, but that's the reality I look at when I read the news. And I think it's important we don't turn our eyes away from that because it's political, because we are impacted by it. If you work in education or public health or social work or are a business person, whatever you are, the federal government impacts your life. Whatever you are, our state government impacts your life. You have to pay attention to it. You have to talk about it. You have to criticize it if they are doing bad or hurting you and your communities. And when you don't, that is permission for them to continue to do whatever the heck they want. And what they are doing is hurting quite a lot of people living in the state. So if they were doing things that helped a lot of people in the state, I would also talk about that. I like good things happening in North Dakota. I try to put that out there too. I like good stories. Indie poetry competition or poetry out loud, we did good with that, right? Celebrate things. I like to do that. But our federal administration is not giving us a lot to celebrate these days. Be aware of that. It is an election year. In good news, there are people in North Dakota value human rights and the work that human rights champions do. Today, as I record this, later today, or even maybe right now, we are celebrating Barry Nelson, a champion of human rights for decades, I believe, at least 10, probably 20 years, maybe longer than that. As long as I've been involved in human rights work, Barry Nelson has been there and has been a leader in it. He is going to be receiving the Arc of Justice Award today from the North Dakota Human Rights Coalition. This, I think, was maybe the first year he could even get it since he helped, I think, found that organization or has at least been involved or in charge of it for many years. He's finally, quote-unquote, retired, and we know how that works for some people. There is no real retirement. Barry Nelson has been a pivotal figure in human rights in this area, and he's been someone that I appreciate as a person who's kind of always kept the lights on. He has had and been part of very difficult conversations. He has had and led very difficult moments and movements. He has been championed and criticized in equal way across his effort and work, but he's always there. And as I get older, I think I respect that more than anything else of anyone in the state, is people who are just simply still there, because I see so many people burn out or leave or get frustrated, and I get it, but if you're not there or doing it anymore, then okay. Like, the people who still have to show up still are doing it. I highlight all that because I think that's the thing that Barry Nelson taught me the most, and it's something I appreciated and realized as I matured as an activist, something I valued in myself. I am not the best at this work. A lot of the stuff I do does deserve criticism. I need to be better. I try to work on that, but you know what? I just show up, and I do my best, and I do as good as I can until I know better, then I do better. And I think seeing Barry being a champion of that has been something that I respect deeply, and I think he is deserving of that reward. In my last story, good news. Yeah, there's data in Minnesota. Woo! And this is good news. There's the Minnesota Compass, which is kind of like I guess, equivalent organization of the North Dakota Compass, has a lot of state demographic data that you can get access to, which is exciting. I like data. I like access to data. If you're ever looking at grants, if you're ever looking at the work that you're doing for the government and trying to prove that the work you're doing is effective, there's data to pull on. And I just looking briefly into the Minnesota Compass, it's a lot of really good stuff. So if you don't have a person who is like obsessed with data in your board or organization, someone who's just kind of annoying with data, loves graphs more than parties like me, you should get you need that person. You need at least one of them in your organization. I guarantee it to you. So this is a really cool resource, and also me just saying data is cool and care about it more, people. Yeah. I think I'm just kind of in a mood in this episode. Like, I'm annoyed at the consequences of the decisions of our federal government a lot. I am annoyed at the lack of data people use a lot, and that's coming through. But I think it's okay, right? Like, it's okay if I'm a little bit annoyed sometimes, right? You can give me that every 10 episodes. Let me just kind of go off a little bit. And I'm not really even going off too much. Anyways, that's it for the show. Thanks for joining me tonight, and I hope you have a good rest of your week. I will always be here if you have any questions or need to reach out. All this stuff is on my website and more. This is just the highlight of like 40 different stories. I have a ton of more opportunities. I have newsletters, getting so many ways for you to get motivated, to get involved, and to encourage other people to get involved. It's an exciting day for involvement. Let's all do it. Until then, bye. Ha 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 ha.